Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Parahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya BPT Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Parahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giriraj Govardhan Ki Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Purushottama Kshetra Shri Jagannath Puri Ki Ganga Mai Jaman Mai Ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Janitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the Simul devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Simul devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Simul devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Chaitanya Swaminiti Namine Namami Bhakti Chaitanya Prabhupada Anusevanam Shri Vrajadanaman Padatam Kripanavam. Hare Krishna. This morning we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 10, chapter entitled Deliverance of the Yamala Arjuna Trees. We'll be reading from text 1 through 5. Text 5 is on the board. I'd like to thank the devotees who are in charge of arranging Srimad Bhagavatam for giving me this opportunity, and with the instructions come the empowerment to carry out the instructions. So I take that as a blessing in advance. But just to cover all the bases, I'd like to request in as humble and as sincere a way as possible for all of your blessings, your assembled Vaishnavas. Please bless me that I can say something of pertinence for your purification and for mine. Hare Krishna. So please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 10, Canto 10, Chapter Summary. Deliverance of the Yamala Arjuna Trees. This chapter describes how Krishna broke the twin Arjuna trees from which Nalakuvara and Manigriva, the sons of Kuvara, then came out. Nalakuvara and Manigriva were great devotees of Lord Shiva, but because of material opulence, they became so extravagant and senseless that one day they were enjoying with naked girls in a lake and shamelessly walking here and there. Suddenly Narada Muni passed by, but they were so maddened by their wealth and false prestige that even though they saw Narada Muni present, they remained naked and were not even ashamed. In other words, because of opulence and false prestige, they lost their sense of common decency. Of course, it is the nature of the material qualities that when one becomes very much opulent in terms of wealth and a prestigious position, one loses one's sense of etiquette and does not care about anyone, even a great sage like Narada Muni. Excuse me. For such bewildered persons, ahankara vimudatma, who strictly deride devotees, the proper punishment is to be again stricken with poverty. The Vedic rules and regulations prescribe how to control the false sense of prestige by the practice of yama, niyama, and so on. Tapasa brahmacharjena samene cha damena cha. A poor man can be convinced very easily that the prestige of an opulent position in this material world is temporary, but a rich man cannot. Therefore, Narada Muni set an example by cursing these two persons, Nalakuvara and Manigriva, to become dull and unconscious like trees. This was a fit punishment. But because Krishna is always merciful, even though they were punished, they were fortunate enough to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Therefore, the punishment given by Vaishnavas is not at all punishment. Rather, it is another kind of mercy. By the curse of the Devarishi, Nalakuvara and Manigriva became twin Arjuna trees and remained in the courtyard of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, waiting for the opportunity to see Krishna directly. Lord Krishna, by the desire of his devotee, uprooted these Yamala Arjuna trees, and when Nalakuvara and Manigriva were thus delivered by Krishna after 100 years of the Devas, their old consciousness revived, and they offered Krishna prayers. They offered Krishna prayers suitable to be offered by demigods. Having thus gotten the opportunity to see Krishna face to face, they understood how merciful Narada Muni was, and therefore they expressed their indebtedness to him and thanked him. Then, after circumambulating the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, they departed to their respective abodes. Text 1. This is not on the board, so I'll just read it and you can hear. Shri Rajuvacha Katyatam Bhagavan etat tayo sapasya karanam tad yat tad virgahitam karma yena vadevashesh tamaha. Translation. King Parikshit inquired from Shukadev Goswami, O great and powerful saint, what was the cause of Nalakuvara's and Manigriva's having been cursed by Narada Muni? What did they do that was so abominable that even Narada, the great sage, became angry at them? Kindly describe this to me. Texts 2 and 3. Shishuka uvacha rudrasyanucharo budva sudruptau danad atmajau kailaso pavane ramye mandakinyam madok kato varunim madiram pitva madak gurnita lochanau strijanai anugayadbhis cherattu pushpite vane. Translation. Shukadev Goswami said, O King Parikshit, because the two sons of Kuvera had been elevated to the association of Lord Shiva, of which they were very much proud, they were allowed to wander in a garden attached to Kailash hill on the bank of the Mandakini river. Taking advantage of this, they used to drink a kind of liquor called Varuni. Accompanied by women singing after them, they would wander in that garden of flowers, their eyes always rolling in intoxication. Purport. This verse mentions some of the material advantages afforded to persons associated with or devoted to Lord Shiva. Apart from Lord Shiva, if one is a devotee of any other demigod, one receives some material advantages. Foolish people, therefore, become devotees of demigods. This has been pointed out and criticized by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 7.20. Kamastastairita jnana prapadyante nyadevataha. Those who are non-devotees of Krishna have a taste for women, wine, and so forth, and therefore they have been described as Ritta Jnana, bereft of sense. The Krishna consciousness movement can very easily point out such foolish persons, for they have been indicated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.15, where Krishna says, Namam duskritno mudha prapadyante nadadamaha Mayaya pahita jnana asuram bhavam ashritaha. Those miscreants or grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Anyone who is not a devotee of Krishna and does not surrender to Krishna must be considered Naradhama, the lowest of men, and Duskriti, one who always commits sinful activities. Thus there is no difficulty in finding out who is a third class or fourth class man. For one's position can be understood simply by this crucial test: is he or is he not a devotee of Krishna? Why are devotees of the demigods greater in number than the Vaishnavas? The answer is given herein. Vaishnavas are not interested in such fourth class pleasures as wine and women, nor does Krishna allow them such facilities. Text 4. Antapavishya gangayam ambhojavana rajini chikri dhato yuvati bhir gajaviva karenubhi. Within the waters of the Mandakini Ganges, which were crowded with gardens of lotus flowers, the two sons of Kuvera would enjoy young girls, just like two male elephants enjoying in the water with female elephants. Excuse me. Purport. People generally go to the Ganges to be purified of the effects of sinful life. But here is an example of how foolish persons enter the Ganges to become involved in sinful life. It is not that everyone becomes purified by entering the Ganges. Everything, spiritual and material, depends on one's mental condition. Text 5, which is on the board. I'm just going to go into the verse without doing it part by part, because I have a lot to discuss today. Yadrichaya cha devarishi Yadrichaya cha devarishi Bhagavam statra kaurava Bhagavam statra kaurava Apasyanarado deva Apasyanarado deva Shibanao samabudhyatya Shibanao samabudhyata Yadrichaya cha devarishi Bhagavam statra kaurava Apasyanarado deva Shibanao samabudhyata. Yadrachaya ta devarishi Bhagavan tatta kaurava Pasyanarado deva Shibanao samabudhyata. Rajachaya cha devarishi Apasyanarado deva Shivana samabudhyate. Anybody else? Matajis. Yadrichaya cha devarishi Bhagavam satyadhikaurava Apasyanarado deva Shibano samabudhyata. Yadrichaya cha devarishi Bhagavam tattva kaurava Apasyan narado deva Shibano samabudhyata. Anybody else? Word for word. Yadrichaya, by chance, while wandering all over the universe. Cha, and Devarishi, the supreme saintly person among the demigods. Bhagavan, the most powerful. Tatra, there, in parentheses, where the two sons of Kovira were enjoying life. Kaurava, O Maharaj Parikshit. Apasyat, when he saw. Narada, the great saint. Devao, the two boys of the demigods. Kibanao, with eyes maddened by intoxication. Samabudhyata, he could understand, within parentheses, their position. Translation. Excuse me. O Maharaj Parikshit, by some auspicious opportunity for the two boys, the great sage Devarishi Narad once appeared there by chance. Seeing them intoxicated with rolling eyes, he could understand their situation. Please repeat responsively. O Maharaj Parikshit, by some auspicious opportunity for the two boys, the great saint Devarishi Narad once appeared there by chance. Seeing them intoxicated with rolling eyes, he could understand their situation. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is said, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastakhay Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhihai. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, verse 54. Wherever Narada Muni goes, any moment at which he appears is understood to be extremely auspicious. It is also said, Brahmanda Brahmita Kona Bhagyavanaji Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. According to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary systems, and some are going down into the lower planetary systems. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 151. Narada appeared in the garden to give the two sons of Kovera the seed of devotional service, even though they were intoxicated. Saintly persons know how to bestow mercy upon the fallen souls. Yadrichaya cha devarishi bhagavams cha tatra kaurava apasyan narado deva shibano samad buddhyata. O Maharaj Parikshit, by some auspicious opportunity for the two boys, the great saint Devarishi Narad once appeared there by chance. Seeing them intoxicated with rolling eyes, he could understand their situation. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshurun Malitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahiyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpaturvyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Chaitanya Swaminiti Namine Namami Bhakti Chaitanyam Prabhupada Anusevanam Shri Vrajadanamant Pradashikam Kripanapam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. For each and every action, there must be a corresponding reaction. But sometimes, the reaction may seem extremely materially unbeneficial, but spiritually, it could be the best thing for you. So therefore, this entire chapter is about blessings in disguise. Sometimes Krishna needs to give you a sugar-coated pearl, or maybe a bitter-coated sugar pearl. You don't know what it is. Like the Nalakuvara and Managriva, once they retained and regained their consciousness, their original consciousness, and were seeing Krishna face to face, then that appreciation was there. In hindsight. But when you're facing the actual thing, when you're facing the actual challenge, test, chastisement, predicament, you're not able to see that clearly. His Grace Padmapad Prabhu told me at 7:35 that I had to discuss text 1, 2 and 3. So please excuse me. 1, 2 and 3 as well, just to clarify. So in text 2 and 3 there's a lengthy purport, and Srila Prabhupada is quoting about the material advantages that one has by worshipping the demigods. This is alluded to by a quote that Prabhupada makes in the purport, chapter 7, text 20. Kamaistai rita jnana prabhantadenya devataha. That people who are not so intelligent, who have overwhelmed material desires for sense gratification, they worship the demigods with the idea to get these blessings, benedictions. And very soon they get. And one of the most popular demigods for such worship is Lord Shiva. What is that? Ashutosh. He is easily pleased. We see this in many pastimes in Bhagavatam, where people do some punya, some austerity, some tapasya, and then Lord Shiva awards a benediction. So the benediction that these children of the demigod Kuvera had was that they were very wealthy. With the wealth comes these corollaries: enjoyment, the propensity to enjoy. Whatever I see is mine, I and mine. This propensity, this mindset comes with opulence, generally speaking. Then you get Ambarish Maharaj Prabhu. Ambarish Das was not like that. He is very much humble and open-hearted. So these two sons of Kuvera are now in a state of confusion, in an intoxicated state, and they neglect the pure devotee, the Lord and the pure devotee, and the influence. They become puffed up with their position. And Prabhupada makes a final commentary, which I'll end my commentary on this purport on, and he says that the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee is what type of activities they engage in. These sons of Kuvera were meant to hold a responsible position. They were engaging in sinful activities. And you'll see in the next verse that they go into the Ganges with that idea. We're going into the Ganges to engage in sinful activities. Whereas why do people go to Ganges? To be freed from sinful activities. So they are very highly bewildered at this point. And Prabhupada ends that purport, text 3, by saying, Vaishnavas are not interested in such fourth-class pleasures as wine and women, nor does Krishna allow such facilities. So, we can't be desireless. But when we come to Krishna with our desires, He purifies us of these desires. Akama sarvakoma va. So now going on to text 4 and 5, starting with text 4. Prabhupada says here, everything spiritual and material depends on one's mental condition. Now he's speaking about what should your consciousness be when you take a bath in Ganga. Now I've done some research on the word mental condition, and in many parts, many purposes of Prabhupada's books, and I found one in the 4th canto, text 29, chapter 29, text 63. Prabhupada equates mental condition to consciousness. You know, you do things in a certain consciousness. Two people can be doing exactly the same thing, but in different consciousness. What is your consciousness like, Prabhu? So, we see this in the way people relate to Ganga. Ganga is meant to be supremely purifying. She is supremely purifying because she emanates from the lotus foot of the Lord. But, we see people shampooing there. We see people sporting there. I mean, we also sport, but not that much. So, you know, there's a level, there's a degree to which you take this. When you take that as just an ordinary water and become loose in your consciousness. So what to speak of a little loose in your consciousness, these two sons of demigods enter the water which is meant to purify you of sin to engage in sin. Highly, grossly sinful mentality. So I was thinking of a little example. This may be in Prabhupada's books, but I've heard it in a lecture before. I'm sorry I can't give you a source for that quote. Is of a scalpel. Who doesn't know what is a scalpel? A scalpel is a, you don't know what's a scalpel, okay. A scalpel is a knife, an extremely sharp knife, which is used as a surgical instrument to cut by the doctor. Autopsies, surgeries, etc. Scalpel. So in the hands of that doctor, scalpel can save a life. But in the hands of a murderer, that same scalpel can commit murder. And disfigure people, so many atrocious things. So it depends on one's consciousness. Then I looked at the second verse, which is on the board here, text 5, and the word yadrichaya struck me. So the word for word Prabhupada says, yadrichaya, by chance, while wandering all over the universe. So this word is used by Sukadeva Goswami to explain the circumstances under which Narada Muni came there. And he used the word yadrichaya, which means by chance. Now I'm going to come back to this point later. Very important point. Was it by chance that Narada Muni came to that spot at that time when these two sons of Kuvera were doing what they were doing? That point, by chance, is very important. I'll come back to that point. So in the purport of text 5, Narada Muni's appearance is described as extremely auspicious. Why? He was just walking by. Why is it auspicious? Because wherever he goes, Prabhupada says in the purport of text 5, wherever Narada Muni goes, at any moment at which he appears, he is understood to be extremely auspicious. So, Narada Muni is a pure devotee. And he has a vision of the pure devotee who is para dukkha dukhi. Maybe if an ordinary person walked past these two brothers, they might condemn them, they might curse them in another way, or chastise them, do something else. But Narada Muni's thought was, how can I save them? This was his first consideration. How can I save them? How did he do this? By his causeless mercy. And it's not that Nalakuvara and Manigriva were eligible. They were 108% uneligible. Why? Here they were given such facility, wealth, facilities, prestige, and with that must come some responsibility. With position must come responsibility, or that position will be abused, as in this case. So we see that whereas they should be setting a proper example as sons, as demigods, sons of demigods, they were acting atrociously. But Narada Muni is a sadhu. And Shastra says, sadhu sanga sarva srashta khai. Labha matra sadhu sarva siddhi hoy. Labha matra sadhu sanga sarva siddhi hoy. So, Labha matra is incredibly small moment. Lava matra is Bengali, matra means very little, only, just matra. So, very small time of association Narada Muni can bring about a change of heart, a change of consciousness, a change of direction of destiny, just by that moment's association. These two were extremely unfortunate. Why? They were giving everything and they used their facility to commit sin. How sad, how tragic. But Narada Muni, with his soft Vaishnava heart, said, I will help them. So those unfortunate people were made fortunate by the association of Narada Muni. Which reminds me of one pastime of Srila Prabhupada, where Srila Prabhupada says, he was on a morning walk, and I've asked clarification on this from His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj in a message, and he wrote back. The devotees were saying, in this verse, they were referring to 7.28, it's described that only fortunate people come to Krishna consciousness. But we are very unfortunate. Prabhupada says, yes. You are all unfortunate. I created your good fortune. So this is Srila Prabhupada, the ultimate example of Paradukha Dukhi. He took hippies and made them into happies. What is the consciousness of somebody who is rich, wealthy, and enamored by those things? That's described in chapter 5 text, chapter 2 text 44. Bhogaishwarya prasakta nam tayaritam tayaparate chetasam, Vyavasatmaka buddhi samadona vidiyate. Thank you, Prabhus. So, it says there, Krishna says, in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, example here, their resolute determination for devotional service does not take place. So by their position, these sons of Kavirava were disqualified. Because that basis, the foundation on which bhakti can be built, was not there. They could not build their bhakti. They could not even, because when the ground is barren, whatever you plant will not grow. But this is not an ordinary seed that Narada Muni carries. What is the seed? Here it says, Brahmanda Brahmita Kanya Bhagyavana Jeev Guru Krishna Prasada Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. This is the seed that Narada Muni carried, the Bhakti Lata Bij, the seed of devotional service. And in the instant that he associated with these two, he transformed their hearts from barren to fertile in a lava matra. The field was ready for the planting of that seed. How? By the association of Narada Muni. He created their good fortune. What is the lack of resolute determination? This verse says resolute determination for devotional service does not take place. What is the resolute determination? You have to be sober. Dhirastattanamuyate. Krishna says 2.13. Sober person is not bewildered by the change of bodies. Otherwise, opposite, intoxicated. These girls who are with the brothers, they cover themselves up with all haste. You see in chapter text 6, etc. It's described. They cover themselves. They understood they were naked in front of Narada Muni. And as shame, as girls, they decided to cover themselves up. But these boys started to sport more. Narada Muni, have a splash. They were intoxicated, bewildered. in the intoxicated states, unaware of what they were doing, unaware. What is this material world? Samsaradava nalalida loka. Nalalida, blazing forest fire of material existence. His Grace Padmalochan Prabhu, the late great Padmalochan Prabhu, said, he asked this question, I will never forget this question. He said, how can you be comfortable in the midst of a blazing forest fire? If you had maybe a thicker pillow, a nice comfy duvet, that's not going to help you. Blazing forest fire of material existence. You are ablaze, Prabhu. You cannot become comfortable. But they are unaware. Why? Covered by the illusory energy. So to uncover those eyes, Om Ajnana Timirandasya, spiritual master is there. And in this case, Narada Muni. So, coming back to the point of chance, how many of you think there was a chance visit by Narada Muni? No, 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 no. Prabhupada says here, second last sentence of this purport of text 5. Narada appeared in the garden to give the two sons of Kuvera the seed of devotional service. For that reason itself he appeared. There was a mission. He was not just going for a walk in the park. He was going to deliver these two. That was his mission. Huh? So it wasn't Yadrichaya, actually. So, I was thinking of one other pastime I can relate, which will highlight this point of being cursed and it being a benediction. This happened in the life of Narada Muni himself. So in Canto 6, there's a description of the Haryasvas. Haryasvas, right? Haryasvas. Haryasvas, thank you. And in this description, they were sons, 1,000 sons actually, of Daksha, Prajapati Daksha. Now what's the function of a Prajapati? To produce Praja. And with that Praja to make more Praja. But Narada Muni saw these boys, of course, as responsible future potential grihastas. They were purifying their consciousness by tapasya. As grihastas who plan to have children, the tapasyas we chant 50 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra before attempting to conceive a child. So these 1,000 sons were performing some tapasya, and then along came Narada Muni. He says, these boys are doing so well actually. Why should they get entangled with all of this? He preached to them and made 1,000 sannyasis, Hari Bol. But all 1,001 were happy. That's 1,000 plus the Narada Muni. But 1,002nd person was not happy. That was Daksha. He said, what have you done? How will I increase the population like this? So again, he went through the process, another 1,000 sons. Huh? And who came along again? Narada Muni. Preached to them. Made them all sannyasis, Hari Bol. So Daksha was highly displeased. And he cursed. Daksha is a very temperamental character in Bhagavatam, you may know, also from the interchange with Lord Shiva. He cursed Narada Muni. Yes, Mr. Transcendental Spaceman, you will travel all over the universe, that's fine, that's okay, but you're not able to stay in one place for more than 3 days, or any given point of time. So Narada Muni says, maybe quietly, he was happy. Why? With that benediction, he could preach. It wasn't a curse actually, it was a benediction. So in that purport of the 6th canto, Srila Prabhupada says something very sweet, which I'd like to repeat for our edification. Prabhupada says, like Narada Muni, I have also been cursed by the parents of my disciples. I cannot stay in one given place. I have temples all over the world. I can live very comfortably. But because my parents of my disciples have cursed me, I am cursed to travel without resting in any particular place. But I have one desire. I would like my disciples, my sannyas disciples, to share this curse so that I can be freed up to read Bhagavatam. That was purport, says that in that purport. So, those of you that engage in these preaching activities, you must know that you're very dear to Srila Prabhupada. You desire that, to take some of that off his shoulders. Of course, Prabhupada will always remain at the center, but we can assist. Like there's a person doing the arti, but there's an assistant. In that mood, we should do devotional service and get the pleasure of for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. So there's two more points I'd like to make before we take some questions. The first one is topical, which means it's current affairs. Please don't mind. So I've entitled this little subsection as From Corona to Karuna. And I have as my exhibit A what happened yesterday. I've been living in Mayapur, not as long as some of our stalwarts here, but at least more than 10 years, I would say, right? And it's the first time ever I've heard the birds from dawn until dusk. It's the first time life slowed down in Mayapur to a very sattvic pace. It's the first time that there were no horns blaring or rickshawalas, they don't fight, they're cool those days. Anyway, no puffs of smoke to choke our lungs. We could hear the birds. And they also seem to be happy to be chirping and heard also. Huh? So this curse, corona curse, ended up being a blessing. So, the point is, many devotees yesterday took to the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Around 5 o'clock there was some announcement, some request, and many devotees put up their drones. Sri Balaram Prabhu put up his drone. You can see the whole of Mayapur, and you hear the whole of Mayapur chanting Kirtan. Many devotees posted things on Facebook, we saw. Clapping, Kirtan, Ganta, everything was going on at the same time. Bells, a lot of Kirtan. So at that time, I could imagine at that moment what it could have been at the moment of appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Mayapur. Mahaprabhu began preaching from his very birth. How is that? On his birth was Purnim, his eclipse. It is apparently inauspicious. So every resident of Navadip gathered on the bank of Ganga or in the Ganga and started to chant Hare Krishna mantra. Thank you. And thus the inauspicious was transformed into auspiciousness. Thereafter, in the lifetime of Mahaprabhu, childhood, he would cry, and whatever they did for him would not pacify little Nimai. But when he sang Hare Krishna Kirtan, then he was quiet. So by his entire existence, Mahaprabhu preached the constant chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, one last point. Krishna's lap and Krishna's slap are the same. We should never ever think that they're different. The face may sting, you may be seeing stars, but it's coming from Krishna. So accept it with that idea. This is coming from Krishna. We're very happy on the lap. Oh, it's so comfortable. I'm so cozy. We love that. I can have that all the time. But when the slap comes, oh no, Krishna, I'm your devotee. Why can you do this to me? It's because you're his devotee that he's doing. But we're not perceiving it as that. We're perceiving the mercy in the wrong way. Prabhupada says, in this regard, there's a verse in the 11th canto speaking about how we relate to the Acharya. In that translation it says, one should not envy the Acharya because he is not different from me. So, Acharya in this case means Guru in our lives. Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya. Then there's many Acharyas. Our spiritual master is our authority. We take him as Acharya. The God brothers of our spiritual master, the Acharyas, we accept them as an authority. Not different from our spiritual master actually. That's the way we should relate to them. And Krishna says in that verse, we should accept them as ourselves. And when they direct us, when they correct us, when they chastise us, we should understand this is coming through Krishna. They are the transparent via medium. So if you are not receiving that instruction, chastisement or correction in the proper spirit, in the proper mood, then that's not denying that authority, either the God birthday of your spiritual master or one of the devotees, Sadhu Sangha, or your spiritual master or Prabhupada. That's disrespecting Krishna, because they are speaking, Krishna is speaking through them. They are transparent via mediums. So it's not easy to do. I was having a chat with somebody yesterday in comment, Praneshwar Nimai Prabhu, and he was saying that he was quoting so many verses in a discussion with me. And I said to him, quoting is one thing, realizing is another. We can quote till you blue like Krishna, but if we don't realize it, it's just hot air. Gyan and Vigyan, there's an ocean of difference. And to bridge that gap between Gyan and Vigyan takes sincerity, endeavor, determination, and humility. I had a nice conversation with His Holy Lokanath Swami long ago, staying at the temple in Sri Sri Radha Radharat in Durban, South Africa. And I approached Maharaj and asked him, how can I overcome this lust in me? Maharaj says, talking about women, if you think you are this body, you will think they are that body. Then he said something very interesting, which I carry in my heart as an instruction. He says, study Shastra. Study of the Shastra will breed humility. Because the more you study Shastra, the more you know about Krishna. The more you know about Krishna and His greatness, you realize how small you are. It's not about emphasize, I am low, I am fallen, I am this, I am that. His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj said to Prabhupada, oh Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen. Oh, Prabhupada says, you're not the most anything. So it's not about emphasizing how fallen we are. We know how fallen you are, don't worry. Anyway, I shouldn't say that's nasty, but anyway, we should know how fallen we are, if you're being honest. But to know the greatness of Krishna, automatically you'll know how small you are. But the focus should be, how great is Krishna? How great is Krishna consciousness? How great is Krishna's devotees? Then in relation to that greatness, how small am I? I offend. I'm chanting 16 rounds a day. Snick, stink, ram, ram, gay, gay, gay. Nothing is happening to this heart. The layers are still there. The words are coming out, but nothing going in the ear to clean the heart. So what kind of devotee am I? Vaishnava ke? What kind of Vaishnava are you? Dushtaman. What kind of Vaishnava are you? Thinking you're a devotee. No. A devotee never thinks he's a devotee in the first place, but that he's a servant of the devotee. And if you're in such a consciousness, when that mercy comes, either by the slap or the lap, you will greatly receive it as the greatest benediction and not a curse. Thank you very much. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Any questions or comments on this? Sumalani Lalita. My Dharam Patni has reminded me some very important point. Thank you. So, in my research, I came across this book called Damodar by His Holiness Sri Srimad Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj. And in this book, Maharaj quotes Sri Jiva Goswami. So Sri Jiva Goswami says that the trees, Yamala Arjuna trees, were in the courtyard of Nanda since Krishna's birth. Why all of a sudden he has a merciful glance on those trees? It seems not even, he should have had that gaze from the time he was born, but all of a sudden he seems to, his glance became merciful. Why? So Jiva Goswami explains, Maharaj quotes, that Krishna at that time that this pulling of the Yamala Arjuna trees took place was in bondage by the ropes on the golden grinding mortar. So he thought to himself, these two trees, imagine them tied up, bound in that form for lifetimes. It was 100 years according to Deva's time, which is much more in our times. Stuck, bondage, and Krishna's compassion was evoked. He felt, I should do something for them. He identified with their suffering, and he decided to bring down those Yamala Arjuna trees and release them. And one of the points is there, is that Krishna felt that I've been tied up like this for a reason, is because I owe a debt. Mother Yashoda has tied me up because I owe a debt. And to pay that debt, I'll do the service of releasing these Yamala Arjuna trees. So these 2 points are made by Maharaj in his book, Damodar. Thank you, Sumalari. Any other points or comments or questions or corrections or chastisements?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Nice, excellent class Prabhu, but I have a small doubt. Probably due to the intoxication, this Nalak, Kubera and Manigriva, they behaved in such a way. Of course, it may be a boon benediction for them. But at one context, from Chaitanya Bhagavatam, what I read it, even the Brahma, once being apparently afflicted by lust, Brahma surprisingly chased his own daughter. Brahma surprisingly chased his own daughter. So that is much more sin than these two people. Because these people may be due to intoxication, they behaved like that. But what the Brahma, is it an eminent position? Is it worthwhile to do like that by Brahma in that, at that context?
I understand. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your question. Lust is also a form of intoxication. But lust is so subtle, you may not even know you're intoxicated. See, if someone is inebriated by having liquor, he smells bad, he behaves badly, he talks badly. But lust is so deeply rooted and so subtle, you may not even know that is happening to you. Because there's subtle and gross lust. So, what is gross lust? Gross sex life. It means, well, there's 8 levels in which a brahmachari can break his vows. One is thinking of a woman, one is touching a woman. There's 8 levels in which a brahmachari can be broken. So it's not that you physically have to be involved with a female to be involved in a lusty activity. So just contemplating itself is lusty activity. And Krishna himself described Dusparena Nalilacha. It's burns like fire. And it's an old enemy, been there, existing since the time of our casting into this material sojourn. And because it's so strongly embedded in us, it is abnormal, but we've accepted it abnormal because we've associated with lust and material nature for so long, we've accepted it as normal. Because the infection is so strong, the medicine has to be strong. And the only way to overcome lust is by love. Not material love, spiritual love. You see, lust is a material problem. And for a material problem, you need a spiritual solution. So, lust is one of the layers of dirt that is in the heart. And to clear away that dirt, we need to chant very intensely, very attentively, so that the Chaito Darpana Majam can occur and this can be cleared away. Of course, this can be assisted with association we take, because if you associate with people who are not lusty or advanced or trying to get free from lust, chant with them, associate, serve them, you will gain their qualities. But the main medicine is to chant Hare Krishna. And in regards to Lord Brahma, he is not an ordinary living being. He's a highly exalted personality, right? So your question may be, how can such a personality be afflicted by lust? The point is, his affliction is not like ours. In general, our lusty mentality is due to Mahamaya. But Brahma, Lord Brahma in that case, is most probably due to Yogamaya, for the higher purpose of enacting some pastime. And at the end of that, actually, to be honest with you, I don't know that. Can anybody fill me in on the pastime, what happened after Lord Brahma chased off his daughter? Yes, please. Can you pass the microphone to Rajendra, please? I won't lie to you, I don't know this pastime perfectly, but Rajendra Nandan Prabhu can please tell me. What happened? What happened after that?
He cast off the body, the mental body. He cast it off. It was no longer connected.
Okay. So Lord Brahma's body is made of mind. But at that point when he desired that, he lost that body. So Brahma, who cannot die after a long, long time, at that moment he died. You have a question, Prabhu?
Did you cover Yadachraya? You said you would come back to it.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did.
Yadachraya
sorry.
means by chance, and this visit was not by chance. Thank you for remembering.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
You mentioned.
I want you to just qualify this, devotees. If anybody has a comment on this question, I'd like clarification on that before you come to your question, please. Does anyone have any more clarification on this question? Why Lord Brahma was lusty? Yes, please. Mahaprabhu Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu.
Prabhu, just to add to what you mentioned already, Prabhupada says that, as you said, that these are very, very highly exalted personalities and they're exceptions to the rule by any stretch of imagination. Prabhupada says this is the only main learning from this is that if they can be susceptible to this, then how much careful should we be? So that is
very good point. I was thinking of the point that Prabhupada was once praying very intensely in front of the deities. He had a class and he said, I will never fall down. Then Prabhupada was praying in front of the deities and the devotees asked him, Prabhupada, you're praying something very intensely. May I ask what were you saying? Prabhupada says, I was praying that I will never fall down. But in the class you said, you will never fall down very bravely. I will never fall down because I'm constantly praying that I'll never fall down. So if Prabhupada can pray for that, who are we? That's kind of linked. Back to that devotee at the back, he had a question. Is that okay?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you mentioned a while ago about Lord Narad Muni being cursed by traveling, preaching, then Prabhupada accepted again, preaching. Now my question is, how to solve politics in ISKCON? Because politics affects the preaching movement of Srila Prabhupada. So, how to solve politics in ISKCON?
Thank you for your question. I'm not sure I see the connection to what I've said.
No. I heard preaching. My point is about preaching. So, because I will say na in our yatra there's politics, and politics affects the preaching
Okay, I get your point. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
So how to resolve the politics so that the preaching moves?
Okay, I have your point. Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Although the class was not based on that point, it's a relevant question. It's a pertinent question, and I think it should be addressed. With your permission, I'll say something. I'm speaking to all my spiritual uncles in this room, and aunties if there's any. It's an unfortunate reality, but we don't focus on it. It's an external, it's part of the influence of Kali and Maya. We don't focus on it, we continue. Prabhupada says, meetings, resolutions, no solution. So this was going on from Prabhupada's time, this was going on in Mahaprabhu's time, this was going on in Krishna's time. Politics and politicians will always be there. But our sole purpose, our sole focus should be to concentrate all our energy on how to chant the holy names without offenses and thus begin the process of transformation within ourselves. If you want to change the world, start with yourself. Become the change you want to see. That is the best policy for any politician and in politics. Become the change you want to see. You may not be able to influence the world directly by changing the policies of the world or the organization or the institution or whatever it is. But if you play your part and everybody has the same mentality, I will play my part. If everybody does that, where's the question of politics? There is no politics. That's my humble effort to answer that. Mataji has some comment.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat everyone. I want to, like, in my question, maybe have request also. Because when beginning I reading Swami Prabhupada books, main things is powerful to keep Ekadashi, full fasting, Nirjal, and Dashami eat one time less, and second day Dwadashi also less. Why this preaching is stopped? Like common they say, oh, we are sick, we have to eat. Who told you? It's they mentioning 8-year smaller and 80-year older, they can eat little bit. Who are sick have to take medicine. But this is main power for, everybody knows, for clean our many past lives, many karmas, and now stop our desires and special tongue. Why stop from ISKCON preaching this, and special ISKCON in Gada Bhavan, everywhere, they feed food, rice. It is for myself, because Shastra is saying, who cooked, like by mistake, there is atta, and you give devotees, that cook person will go jail. So this is very dangerous situation what we doing. You can explain a little bit what's going on.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
So the question is about Ekadasi, the degrees of following Ekadasi. Mataji is mentioning that previously there was an injunction that you reduce your eating on Dasami and Dwadasi, and on Ekadasi Nirjal fast. Well, that's, first of all, you have to consider whether that's practical for everybody in ISKCON in terms of what they're able to do, health-wise and age-wise, as you mentioned. Then Ekadasi shouldn't be such a thing that, in your attempt to be austere, you forget Krishna. You're just worrying about your hunger and your thirst and whatever. You see? See, there may be people who follow like you're saying, in terms of very stricture, etc., but they're not thinking of Krishna. They're constantly thinking how hungry I am thirsty I am. It's just a statement, I'm just considering this. But there may be somebody who's eating non-grains, 1 meal, 2 meals, 3 meals, whatever it may be, and chanting a minimum of 16 rounds, maybe more, but their consciousness is whatever they're doing is for Krishna, and they're thinking of Krishna for the whole day. That is so much better than this procedure of doing this austerity with no Krishna in the center. Too much of austerity makes the heart hard, especially if there's an absence of Krishna in the center of that austerity. Right? But at the same time, we have to practice austerity. There's only twice a month, and some endeavor should be made to follow as strictly as possible. But there's various grades of Ekadasi fasting. There's some people who take like nothing, Nirjal. Some people drink only water. Some people have only fruit. Some people eat grains. Non-grains. Some people have one non-grain meal a day. Some have 3. It's up to the individual. But the point is, they must remember Krishna at all times. Right. Rajendra Nandan Prabhu has his hand up. Let's hear what he has to say. The second part of your question I'll come to now, but a
couple of days ago, one of my Prabhus shared this quote of Srila Prabhupada's, and I think it applies to both of the recent questions. Srila Prabhupada said to Nanda Kumar Prabhu that rules are meant to be followed and not to judge others. So Srila Prabhupada always preached the highest standard in his books, but if you look in his behavior of how he applied the teachings, if someone wasn't able to follow the highest standard, then he encouraged them to do what they could do so that their devotion would, grow.
Excellent. Thank you for your addition, my spiritual uncle. Any other person like to add to that? The second part of the question is not answered about, you see, the feeding of grains by any branch of ISKCON is not within my authority to say anything about because I'm not in that level of management or anything of the sort. I would say that the higher principle is of distributing of prasadam. That's what I would say as a general answer. But about specific whether serving grains, like I know Food for Life sometimes does in my country, in South Africa, they do that. Whether it's sinful or not, I will open the floor. Anyone want to comment on that? Giving grains on Ekadasi? We have some senior devotees here. Can they please comment? Yes, His Grace Pankaj Jangri Prabhu wants to say something. Let him speak first.
At one time we were making only Ekadasi prasadam in the guest house, but then there are different calendars, so people follow Ekadasis on different tithis, start from different times, so that they may be following the Ekadasi tomorrow or the day before. So that was a problem there. So Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj says you make a grains, but there's an alternative. I think it's still going on. There's an alternative. You can have a Ekadasi prasad if you want, to cater for those that already observe or will observe Ekadasi on another day.
But just while Pankaj Jangri Prabhu has the mic, what about distributing food, distributing prasadam, grains, like to guests? That's her question.
Well, you can tell them it's Ekadasi today.
So there is an alternative to distribute non-grain.
If they observe an Ekadasi, this is grains. Otherwise, you don't eat it today, or put it in your packet and take it tomorrow.
Okay, that's a good answer.
But they should be informed.
That's a good answer. Okay, His Grace Janani Vasprabhu has his hand up. Janani Vasprabhu.
Hare Krishna. Srila Jayapataka Maharaj, one time he found out that they were distributing at a Shula Bhojanalaya, they were distributing non-grains. It was strictly Ekadasi. And then when Jayapataka Maharaj found out, he said, no, you can't do that. He said, people are coming from miles and miles away. They come from Calcutta, 100 miles away, and they want their rice every day. So he said, we're not going to eat it, of course. He said, but you should let them get their rice. They won't be satisfied.
That reminds me of one point that Srila Prabhupada made. He quoted that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur one day saw that all his disciples were lying around, like, tired and looking drained, and says, why aren't you preaching? He says, no, Ekadasi, we got no energy to preach. He says, even if it means eating rice, cook some rice, eat and go and preach. So the higher principle, we should always remember, in everything there's a detail and a principle. The higher principle is preaching is the essence. And by our taking care of our guests, remember we are hosts here in Mayapur. It is our duty as guests, as proper guests, hosts, to take care of the people who come here. And if they want grains to eat, if it's offered in his prasadam, we should give. But I think join up with what Pankaj Jangri Prabhu says and make these people aware that this is Ekadasi and we have a choice whether to eat or not. And they can have the option to carry it away. That's a very good point. Prabhu, you have your hand up there. 2 hands.
One answer I got when I asked this question was that if we don't give them the grains, they will go outside the campus and eat non-vegetarian foods.
Correct.
It's better to give them prasad.
Correct. Good point. It's prasad.
Hare Krishna. I just remember one thing. On a Ekadasi day, I brought back some prasadam from the temple, and my friends were at the house. So I had no choice but to give prasadam. It was just fruits and some sweets. Even that they can't eat that. They found difficulty in eating that prasadam. After a moment, I realized that if they are karmis or ordinary people, they will have difficulty eating prasadam because it has its opulence. Hare Krishna.
I want to end with one. Any other comments? Because I want to end now. My uncle, Rajendra Nandan Prabhu.
This is about the first part of the question. I just wanted to share with you, when I was a younger devotee and living in Vrindavan, I did Nirjala Ekadashi for 1 year. And by the time the year was up, I was looking at all the devotees like, you're so fallen, why can't you? And then I realized, what the heck am I doing? So then I started observing Ekadashi like everybody else to bring the arrogance and the pride back down.
Thank you for that. It reminds me of one purport where Prabhupada is describing the mode of goodness. And Prabhupada says this, the difficulty with the mode of goodness is the tendency to think one is better than the other. So that's the same point. Mode of goodness, following these rules and regulations, the tendency to, if the Krishna is not in the center of that austerity, you start to think because you're doing the austerity, you're better than somebody else. That's the danger there. Mataji, is that okay? Okay. It's not okay. Well, you know, Padmapad is going to arrest me if I don't speak. So I'm going to say one more thing, then we'll end. In Jagannath Puri, there is no Ekadasi. In fact, there's one temple where the personality of a Guru is hung upside down. He is tied up and hung upside down, so there's no Ekadasi. But my wife and I happened to be there on Jagannath's wedding day. And it was an Ekadasi. Nirjala Ekadasi, on that day. We were there. It's also my birthday, by the way. And then, so imagine having a birthday on Nirjala. So on this day, here's Ekadasi lying upside down. And they served a feast for Jagannath's wedding. And guess what it was? Roots and fruits? I'm afraid not, propose. Grains, nothing but grains. And everybody enjoyed Hari Hari Bol. And the next day, to cater for all those people who are following that, they served another feast, which we duly honored. Jai Jagannath. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.